Hey, Solvern here with today's video on Horizon Forbidden West. I'll be covering some testing that Guitar Nerdist and I did to really determine if it's worth the effort to get the new legendary bow, the Tears of the Land God, or if you're just as well off using the Deathseeker Shadow Hunter bow instead. Now, as a caveat, we are just testing the primary ammo type for these hunter bows to compare the impact damage, given that these are the arrows that we'll be using the most frequently throughout the game. This is also why we chose to cover these hunter bows first, since they are probably the most frequently used weapon in the game for most people. Now obviously we'll want to compare the maximum damage that these bows can do to test them out properly, so we made sure to max out each of them while having the exact same coils and armor equipped. Here you can see that we have a 12% impact damage coil, two 25% long-range damage coils, and two 10% impact damage coils in our given slots. This brings the Deathseeker Shadow's impact damage up to 91 and its tear damage up to 279. For the Tears of the Land God, its impact damage went up to 110 and its tear damage up to 328. Comparing just these stats, that's almost a 21% increase in impact damage and about a 17.5% increase in tear damage by using the new legendary weapon over the Deathseeker Shadow Bow. But let's take a look and see if this adds up in our gameplay too. So as a reminder, we made sure to control for using the same coils, being overdrawn on the bow, and being within the same range from our targets when comparing our damage numbers to each other. Unfortunately, as you can see, even after controlling for all of that, there is still a good bit of variation in how much damage you can do based off of just how centered your shots are on the enemy's weak spot. The most consistent numbers we got were 406 for the Deathseeker Shadow's bow and 554 for the Tears of the Land God bow when hitting the burrower's weak spot. So this would be, on average, about a 36.5% increase in damage. For the Charger's weak spot, the most consistent numbers we got were 258 for the Deathseeker Shadow's bow and 344 for the Tears of the Land God. This brings it out close to about the same percentage increase in damage, which in this case would be roughly around 33%. So by now you're probably asking, is it really worth the effort of getting the new legendary hunter bow? I mean, at the end of the day, both of these bows can still one-shot a burrower and two-shot a charger when shooting them in the eye, and that's with it being on the ultra-hard difficulty. But when you think about it, a 21% to 36% increase in damage on average can add up over time, especially for the larger robots. On the other hand, the Tears of the Land God requires a lot of material to fully max it out, so it can take a while to farm for it. If you're not having that much trouble overall in the ultra-hard difficulty, then maybe you'd prefer to save some time from farming and pass on it instead. However, it is also worth mentioning that the ultra-hard playthrough does make it a good bit harder to tear off components compared to the easier difficulties. The new legendary bow does provide an additional 17% increase in tear damage, so even if it takes only a couple fewer arrows to rip a component off, it could still make a big difference in surviving in this difficulty for bigger battles. Especially like if that component was a gun that you could help use to turn the tides of a fight. So overall, I'd recommend getting the Tears of the Land God if you don't mind the grind to get it and could use the extra damage to help make your ultra-hard playthrough a little bit easier for yourself. Also, special thanks to my loving husband for helping with this script.
You said that you were going to take this out. I didn't want to look like an idiot for my first video.
If the video has helped you, we would very much appreciate you dropping a like and subscribing to follow along with our future videos. Are there more tests that you would like to see us do with different machines or different weapons? Is there something that we missed that you would like to see us cover? Drop a comment below and let us know. We love hearing from you, and we enjoy having an open dialogue with those of you who are watching and learning from our videos. Thank you for watching to the end, because as we all know, time is shards.